it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where each episode, my guests and I each pick a film related in some shape or form. And joining me, as always, each month is my buddy Jeff. Jeff, thank you so much for coming on.
Of course.
And Jeff chose Friends with Kids, which is about two best friends who decide to have a baby together. And I'm like, well, let's do another movie that has unexpected creation of a baby, and that's Knocked Up. Definitely different tones after watching Friends with Kids, which was my first time watching this. But let's start with Friends with Kids from 2011. This is from writer, director, and star Jennifer Westfeldt. Has Adam Scott, Maya Rudolph, Chris O'Dowd, Kristen Wiig, John Hamm, Megan Fox. It's one of those kinds of like this was that era of comedies where it's like every single one of these movies had like an insane cast
Hmm.
thrown together. And here, the two best friends decide to have a child together while keeping their relationship platonic so they can avoid the toll kids can take on a romantic relationship. But Jeff, what were your general thoughts on Friends with Kids?
So I do have an interesting history with this movie. So when I was in
Okay.
college at the time, I went to a an early screening of this movie that had a Q and
Nice.
A with the director of the film, which is
Nice.
Jennifer Westfeldt. So I saw her in person. I think I said hi to her and she waved at me or whatever. But I do have I when I watched this movie, I was so like transfixed. But I'm like, oh my god, it's got Adam Scott, it's got Chris O'Dowd, it's got Kristen Wiig. I'm like, it's got John Hamm. Like these all these awesome people in it. I was like, I gotta go check out this movie. And then when I found out it was a Q&A, it was great. And then I remember walking out of the theater just really, really liking this movie. And it's been one of those movies that I kind of come back to every few years as I get
Mm,
older, and I kind of understand it a little more and a little more and a little more. There are some parts of this movie that I think are a little they maybe don't age well. Maybe that's not the right way of putting it, but they're not, they don't hit me the same way as they used to
mm,
when I was younger. Um, but I still really like this movie. I think like just the acting work in it is really good. I think
mm.
Adam Scott is fantastic, and he's got really good chemistry with Jennifer Westfeldt.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just like this movie. And John Hamm, I'll watch anything John Hamm is in.
Yeah. This was my first time watching this, and I feel like it's best to rip the band-aid off first. There's one thing that kind of bothered me about this movie. There was a lot of things that I did like about this movie. And this could be like first time watch and just processing this, but I really appreciated the fact that like this was trying to present like you can have a kid in different kinds of life situations and
Yeah,
stuff like that. And I thought that was pretty progressive for like 2011 even
yeah.
to be presenting that. Um it's what kind of bothered me and like we're jumping right to the end here is like they wind up together. And it's like
Yeah.
I feel like did that really reinforce the themes that most of this movie was trying to portray? But like also they should have been together like the whole entire time because like them saying like this was a platonic relationship, I'm just like they were so close and
Hmm.
had just such a spark. And I feel like it's one of those situations where like you're two friends and you just convinced yourselves that you can't be in a relationship together despite the fact that like
Right.
you're really really good for each other. So like I guess that's what didn't make me completely just like why the hell did the movie do this by the end. But like I don't know, I felt like it was giving a bit of mixed messaging in terms of what it was trying to portray thematically by having them wind up together at the end when the whole entire point of this was to prove that like that doesn't have to be the case.
Yeah. I think that's kind of one of those things that I like when I watch and I look back on it, I'm like, it's one of those things that doesn't quite age well with me because I think it was trying to be a little too romantic comedy, and even
Mhm.
at the end, like it really doesn't even show like that they're like it doesn't do one of those like, oh, like fast forward one more year and they're super happy being together. It just kind of ends, and we are
Right
kind of left in
after
the
they were gonna have some
yeah
fun.
yeah, like it just kind of ends, and
Mhm.
then that's fine. It's completely fine. But I kind of wish there was a little bit more closure on that if they were going to go that route.
Mhm. Yeah, I such an interesting thing because like I saw this happening like a mile away, but then
Yeah.
like the whole entire time I'm like, does this film have the courage to not do that by the end of this movie? But then the challenging thing is like they do. Like Adam Scott and Jennifer Westphal have such great chemistry together in this where I'm just
Hmm.
like, I could totally see them being together.
Yeah.
And there, God, the where this is not for the most part, most of this movie not like your standard rom-com kind of thing. Like this feels a lot like it delves a lot more into like legit serious romance. And
Yeah.
that one scene at that group dinner table where Adam Scott just goes off on what he
Yeah.
loves so much about Julie, Jennifer Westfeld's character. I'm just like, damn, this movie got me emotionally. I'm just like, and you could, that performance from Adam Scott in that moment was so good
Hmm.
and fully committed. And honestly, one unsung hero of this movie from like a performance standpoint is poor Kristen Wiig, because the whole entire movie she was emotionally devastated, and
Yeah.
like she doesn't get to do like that fun Kristen Wiig weird kind of comedy that she likes to do. She's just like horribly sad and hurt the whole entire movie because John Hamm is such a dick in this.
Well, you know, it's one of those things where like after like because I haven't seen this movie in
Mhm,
several years,
mhm.
and the only thing that I can really kind of compare it to is like the movie Marriage Story, because Marriage Story is tough to watch.
Yes.
Like, and that's what kind of what their relationship kind of reminds me of, is like the relationship in Marriage Story, where like they're not happy, and
Mm-mm.
they're going through like a divorce, and they're doing tough, and it's it's just one of those things that just like I can see somebody like in 2011 watching this movie and being like I could see Noah Baumbach sitting watching this movie. Not that he would actually think of this, but like watching their story and being like, that's a movie right there. Like I want to write that movie.
Well, that's the thing. There could have been a whole movie. There could have
Yeah.
been a whole movie about all three of these
Hmm.
couples here. But especially that Kristen Wiig John Hamm couple. It's like we only see like them
Yeah.
fleetingly throughout the film, and every time I'm just like, there is contempt.
Yeah.
Like it is that point. And then you have like the awkward, weird uh marriage between Maya Rudolph and Chris O'Dowd, which
Hmm.
if you need to get somebody to play a really awkward, goofy husband, Chris O'Dowd
Chris
is
O'Dowd is the guy. He's the guy.
Chris, Chris O'Dowd is the guy, and both of them play those roles so well. But like, I was just so like honestly, I was pretty smitten by the
Yeah.
dynamic between Jennifer Westphal and Adam Scott, and I appreciated that a lot of this was showing like, hey, they can actually make this work, and
Sure.
the balance, and things get complicated when they start to realize that they really have these feelings for each other. But you have like the Megan Fox relationship, which she's an actress and she's on the run all
Hmm.
the time, and they sit there and play video games. And then was it Edward Burns is Kurt,
Hmm.
the relationship for Julie's character, and he's just like, God, one of the moments that hit me so damn hard watching this movie was when he's like, "No, I think I'm gonna stay back here. I think they might need some help."
Yeah.
And just the way that Krista Wiig broke down, I'm just like, "Oh." my God.
Like it's
It's
kind of like
terrible.
it's a very like I don't know. I don't want to say subtle, but it's a kind of like a subtle performance from Kristen Wiig because she's not doing like her
Yeah.
normal Kristen Wiig
No.
thing. She barely ever has any lines in this movie.
That's the thing.
It's all just facial expressions and just emotion,
Mhm.
which
And
is
just
really
like,
interesting to see.
yeah, I imagine like sitting in 2011 being like, Kristen Wiig?
Yeah.
And just like being really surprised by that. And, you know, I kind of want to see her in more like heavily emotional roles after seeing
Hmm.
this film. It's like, she could do it. She's a very talented actor. And I just love that this film has a lot of like small moments, like that awkward date with Megan Fox and Adam Scott, where they're at that fancy restaurant and that family is like just
Yeah.
trying to hold it together, and her being her. Like Megan Fox completely commits and understands the character that she's playing in this. And she's so dismissive of this family, which also Brian Darcy James, just randomly Broadway star as well Greg from Broadway as the husband in
Hmm.
that family. And just like that was such a wonderful moment where like Adam Scott's just like connecting with this family.
Like a full
And
like a it's kind of a full circle moment, you know,
yes,
where earlier in the film he's commenting, "Why would they bring their kids here?" And then he has a kid. He goes, "I totally get it. Like yeah, you're gonna bring your kids somewhere. That's because I would do the same exact thing." And
this
then
is
now
your
he's with
family.
this, and now he's with this woman who feels the same way he did 5 years previous when he was saying the same thing.
Yep. And that like I would not describe this to somebody recommending this as a rom-com. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like a lot of this is a lot like sure, Adam Scott's funny. And like that's just like his natural like approach to things. And Chris O'Dowd and Maya Rudolph's couples kind of silly because Chris O'Dowd's kind of a goof. Um and but like there's a lot of really good dramatic elements to this film that really
Sure.
worked for me. And I was pleasantly surprised by this movie and really enjoyed it. I just it's very interesting because I had just went to go see Materialists today,
Oh, I think
um,
I'm gonna try to go see it this weekend.
which Celine saw. Like those trailers are terrible, making this seem like it's some kind of like oh, it's a rom com. I'm like, this is a Celine Song movie. This definitely isn't some cheesy rom com.
Yeah,
It's not.
that's
It's
definitely not
not.
how I perceive the trailers. Like because I love Past Lives, and so I'm going
Uh,
into this thinking it's gonna be like Past Lives.
it definitely is like past lives. And the interesting thing is, it's like they're trying to market it one way because I think that's the easier way to get people to go in to see
Yeah.
this movie. But like it kind of remind me of this where it's just like its strengths are in like sure it has some funny
Mm,
moments, but like its strength is in the drama. And I
yeah.
really appreciated that. And like honestly, I would like to see what else Jennifer Westfeld's done. I know like I'm looking here and she's been a writer on some things like The Idea of You. I didn't realize that came
Oh, I
out.
didn't even realize that.
Yeah, and not gonna lie, I enjoyed that movie quite a bit. And like,
It caught me by surprise.
yep. And this is just has such a strong cast. And I have some reservations about how they wrap up the film, but at the end, like from start to almost finish, this was a really engaging and moving film, and I really enjoyed it.
Hmm. Yeah, I do really like this film, and I like we kind of talked about. It does have some moments that kind of feel a little off, but I think it's still one of those films that I'm going to come back to every few
Mhm.
years, like as I grow older, because I want to have kids and be married and one of these all that stuff someday, and so it's probably going to be one of those things that I come back to and I'm like, oh, like I can connect with this a little bit more now that I'm in different places of my life.
Absolutely. And where thematically this film, I don't like it started off with like why do they have to be together, but like they're so good together. It's just like
Yeah.
they should be together. But now let's talk about Knocked Up, where take a couple that basically feel like they're obligated to be together. And this is a 2007 comedy from, this Judd Apatow. So, and it has like the Judd Apatow crew. Obviously at
Well,
the center of this,
it also has Kristen Wiig and Adam Scott.
yes, like Scott is that nurse.
Yeah.
Just like I'm a cool guy nurse. um Wild the amount of, we'll get to it there, it's wild the amount of small roles in this.
Oh
Craig
yeah.
Robinson steals it.
Yeah, Craig Robinson is great. Who I mean, I'm looking at this cast. It's insane. Like, and I it's been a really long time because I this is the first time me watching Knocked Up. I'd never seen it before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was watching it for the first time the other night in preparation for this episode. So I mean, just seeing all these people in this movie, like Alan Tudyk, Harold Ramis, like
You Jeff, you just need to like tighten.
yeah,
Like we're not telling you to lose weight. You just need to tighten.
Titan,
And Kristen Wiig, it's like we need you to step on a scale, and what it says, we need it to be 20
like 10
less than
pounds
that.
less. Yeah, 20 less.
It's like, oh my God. Two of them are hilarious. And like
Hmm.
her whole thing is just like, no, I think it's actually kind of disgusting.
Yeah,
Like, that's Kristen Wiig doing her humor thing because it's really great. And you mentioned like Harold Ramis is Seth Rogen's dad, and just from top to bottom, like Bill Hader pops up in there,
yeah,
Ken
just
Jeong,
stacked.
just stacked. And this film is about for fun-loving party animal Ben Stone. The last thing he ever expected was for his one-night stand to show up on his doorstep 8 weeks later to tell him she's pregnant with his kid. Which, yes, obviously this is about somebody getting knocked up. It's called Knocked Up. And obviously this was like one of the first big roles for Seth Rogen leading, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
and
I
then
think this was kind of one of his bigger first things.
mhm. And then Katherine Heigl before whatever the hell happened to Katherine Heigl's career and things not going so well for her. And but like they make an interesting duo. So
Hmm.
now I'm actually particularly interested now. You telling me this was your first time watching, Jeff. What were your thoughts on Knocked Up?
Honestly, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Um, Sometimes Judd Apatow is a little hit or miss for me, but for the
Mm-hmm.
most part, he's a hit. Um, I really liked it. I was expecting more like more crazy than anything
Mm-hmm.
else. Like I because whenever I think of comedies with Seth Rogen in this time frame,
Yep.
they're like the Super Bads or they're like the Pineapple Express.
Sprite. Yeah.
And this kind of caught me a little off guard because I was like, oh, like it's a little bit more um, grounded. It's not
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Like it's just telling the story of a guy who is trying to navigate this completely new
Mm-hmm.
world that he's in, and towards the end he does he gets his shit together. Spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I'm sure anybody listening to this is like you're like Jeff, you're the only dork that hasn't seen it. So, um, but no, I mean, I really it really caught me off guard. I really liked it, and I think that's it's one of those things that's just like Judd Apatow as I get older, like kind of I was talking about with Friends with Kids. Like it's like my taste is changing. I'm changing, you know, and my taste
Mm-hmm.
is changing with my age, and so I kind of relate more to the stories that he's telling in these stories about growing up and becoming an
Yep.
adult, basically.
Well, and Judd Apatow's the was the king of 2 hour plus dramedies
Yeah.
for like so long.
Hmm.
And obviously that's extended into what King of Staten Island was the really like the last dramedy that he did. He did that horrible movie, The Bubble. And
Yeah,
then
I didn't
he
even watch it.
and then he did that I think it was Albert Brooks that he did a documentary about. But for the most part, it's like this 40-year-old virgin, which the 40-year-old virgin's a little bit more like raunchy kind
Hmm.
of than this. And because like a lot of like the that comedy you expect from this era comes out of Ben's friend group.
Yeah.
with Jason Segel and Jonah Hill and Jay Baruchel and Martin Starr and their continuous jokes about him looking like a terrorist or this or that, and because of the bet with his beard. Um, Jonah Hill and Jay Baruchel kind of on the fringe. Like Jason Segel's the one that really gets the most to do out of the friend group, who has this fascination with Leslie Mann's character, which which also obviously get Leslie Mann and the Apatow daughters in
Hmm.
this, which also I'm actually a pretty big fan of. Where is it? Somewhere up there, my This Is 40. The kind of sequel to Knocked
Yeah.
Up. Um, which has
I gotta watch This Is 40 again after this, because I remember watching it years ago, like when it
mhm.
came out, and I had not seen Knocked Up, so I was like, I don't think I need to know Knocked Up to watch this, but now it
No,
probably kind of
absolutely not,
helps.
actually.
But it probably
And
helps.
I think it definitely gives you some perspective on the dynamic between Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann, obviously, which
Absolutely.
which here they have quite the interesting marriage, but like, damn, Paul Rudd is so great. It's so
Hmm.
funny. Um, I feel like him and Seth Rogen going to Vegas in this is like that quintessential the humor of that time period
Yeah.
and all the drug shenanigans they get up to. Um, I think Katherine Heigl does a really fine job in like the role that she's supposed to be playing here as Allison. I feel bad that it seems like she's like the wet blanket of
Yeah.
every movie like this, and like that's her role in these kinds of movies. But like I think she does a really fine job. This movie definitely, like, how we were talking about Friends with Kids felt pretty progressive for 2011, and then kind of was like, well, just kidding, they're going to wind up together. This one very much feels like, well, they're going to have to be together if you're going to have a kid, and it definitely feels like obviously they have to do a lot of growing
Yeah.
to get to that point. But like this movie from the start's like they have to be together.
Hmm.
And you get your ups and downs. The iconic Ben runs out with his bong during an earthquake instead of his pregnant girlfriend um moment. And oh my god, Jason Segel being completely naked, just cupping. Boy, that man has no shame about being naked ever. Just watch Forgetting Sarah Marshall. But like it's just this I really like the journey that Ben goes on. And here's the thing, like Ben's underachieving. He's not like there's so much room for him to grow as a person in this movie, and he does. But like there's also moments like he has really good points too.
Yeah.
And I think that's the nice thing about this movie is that both of them are wrong and right in different situations, and there's a good balance between that relationship where they do have to come together in
Hmm.
the end for it.
Yeah. I think there's, um, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. Yeah. I appreciate the way that they tell the story of Ben growing up to,
Mhm.
because it's just it's fascinating to see his progression in this movie, and it was not one that I was expecting at all.
Mhm.
But I think that's kind of why I was kind of like, maybe I need to give like some of Judd's movies a little bit more of a look, because like I
Mhm.
loved King of Staten Island. I
Yep.
don't remember This Is 40 that well, but I do think that it was. I did think that it was a little bit more like more than your average comedy, and that's kind of how I feel about this one, because it's him kind of moving more into that realm where he was doing more like This Is 40, and
Yep.
well, there was another directing movie that I was
Funny
I was thinking
people.
about here. Funny People, yeah, that one I also was like, if it's a different kind of comedy than
Mhm.
just your typical like, you know, like Pineapple
Yeah,
Express
and that's
and
when he went
40-Year-Old
full.
Virgin. Like
When
it's becoming more adult, you know.
Yeah, and he went full blown. I'm going to make a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah,
With funny people. Which
like
that's the
I
thing.
think. I think Trainwreck kind of like took a like kind of took it back a little bit. I think that was
Yep.
just too silly and too weird. But I think the movie is still decent for what it is.
I really like Trainwreck, but also Trainwreck feels more like an Amy Schumer movie
Yes.
than a Judd
Yeah.
Apatow movie. Like 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, This Is 40, Funny People, they all feel like Judd Apatow movies. And he
Hmm.
found comedians that fit into what he's trying to do. And like
Yeah.
that's the thing, like Seth Rogen, Paul Rudd, Steve Carell, they really understand what Judd Apatow's trying to do. I feel
Right.
like I feel like Trainwreck's very much an Amy Schumer movie. And King of Staten Island, I think, does a really fine job of balancing. Like, this is the Judd Apatow stuff, and this is the Pete Davidson kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed King of Staten Island. You know, it's a Judd Apatow scene when you expect them to stop making jokes, and then they go 2 extra minutes of still making jokes after.
Hmm.
Um, like that's why all his movies are over 2 hours. But like there's just so many fun like the fact that this group of friends is trying to make a website where it's like you could find naked actors and actresses in movies and like that's such a
Hmm.
wild thing and all the small little characters along the way and you know this is just such a stack cast like I mentioned before that Craig Robinson scene gets me every time it's like absolutely hate myself for having to do this. I
Hmm.
can't just send in some old pregnant woman into this club. It's like Craig Robinson was destined to be stealing movies after this. He's still my favorite in this is the end. Um this group of comedians, which is so interesting where they're all now. Like, I really like where Seth Rogen's career has gone, and with like the studio and stuff like that. Like seeing him grow into these kind of roles is really exciting. Paul Rudd's still Paul Rudd, and he's also a superhero.
Yeah.
Damn man. Um, what was the last time I saw Leslie Mann pop up? Something. That's a good question.
Probably in something that Judd Apatow did because he uses him.
Oh
He
God, it
uses
was.
her
It
in
was the
almost
bubble.
yeah. He
Ugh.
uses her in everything that he does, and I don't think I've seen her in anything else besides a Judd Apatow thing. So
So
it's been a minute,
she
but
was in Cha Cha Real Smooth, which
never
I
seen it.
do really like that movie. Would recommend.
I did.
Um,
I didn't watch it because of the title. Because I hate the title. I don't even know what it's about. I hate the title.
he's a DJ for like events and stuff like that. So of course
Mm,
they're gonna have to do like that.
yeah.
She was in Blockers. I really enjoyed that movie. I had a lot of
Oh,
fun with that.
Blockers. I forgot about that movie. Didn't see that either.
Yeah, but that's almost like I think that's almost 10 years old at this point, which I don't like
Yeah,
that.
probably.
Because Geraldine Viswanathan is
Yeah.
John Cena's daughter in that. It's just like
Right.
what? Um, this I think Knocked Up is one of those kinds like this is like quintessential aughts comedy.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
if you're gonna make a list of like top 10 comedies of the aughts, like Knocked Up's probably gonna be on there. That or the 40-Year-Old Virgin. One of the two Judd Apatow movies is gonna get on there. And I think there's some mature things about this movie that are pretty unexpected for a movie
Hmm.
called Knocked Up.
Yeah.
And I think Seth Rogen does a great job. Him and Katherine Heigl make a good pair on screen. Love the whenever Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd get time on screen together. That Pete and Debbie relationship is they have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
That moment hits me where it's just like, sometimes I just need to like escape. It's like, what did you do? Well, I want to go see Spider-Man. It's like maybe I wanted to see Spider-Man. I'm just like, I feel like this movie is a warning to anybody who like if you start realizing you're getting into a rut in your marriage, don't wind up like Pete and Debbie. Talk to each other.
Well,
Communicate.
I would also even go say is don't watch this movie because it's not going to help. It's just gonna bring up arguments.
No, probably not.
Same thing with like This Is 40. Don't watch This Is 40 if your marriage is in a rut or having issues. Don't watch it. It's just gonna bring up more issues.
That's like a 2 hour and 20 minute movie of just like this is really uncomfortable where this
Yeah.
marriage
Don't
is gone.
don't. That's what I'm saying. Don't watch these movies. It's not gonna help
Don't
situation at
watch them.
all. Go to therapy. Talk it out.
Yeah, there you go. Therapy better than just watching. So there you go. For solving your problems at least.
Yeah.
But I guess Jeff, do you have anything else you want to add about Knocked Up?
No, I don't have anything to say about Knocked Up, but I'm just thinking about Judd Apatow a bit more, and I'm looking at not the movies he's directed, but all the things that he produces, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where his specialty lies in, is producing. Because if you look at just the list of things that he produces that he hasn't directed, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's stacked. And you've got that series on Netflix called Love. You've got Pete Holmes' series on
Love
HBO,
that show.
Crashing, which is amazing. He's producing a million comedy specials. Like Chris Gethard's Career Suicide is, I think, a near perfect stand-up comedy special. He produced the entire series Girls, like The Big
Mm-hmm.
Sick,
Yep.
like the Please Don't Destroy movie, Pop Star, all these awesome movies and projects that I'm like, he can't go, he like that, everything he touches when he is just gold. And it's great. Like even movies that aren't even very good, like Wanderlust and 5 Year Engagement, not necessarily great movies, but they're still good enough in them where he deserves the credit for that. Even Bridesmaids, I heard something that he wrote, like it took him 4 or 5 years to write Bridesmaids, and all he did was write it and produce it, and then Paul Feig directed it.
Mm-hmm. Like he basically shaped the aughts of
Absolutely.
comedies into the 2010s. Like even just like Anchorman and Talladega Nights, like he was there with Adam McKay and Will Ferrell through all of this. And I Forgetting Sarah Marshall is an almost yearly watch for my wife and I because it's one of Jess's favorite movies.
Oh yeah, it's
She
such a
loves
great movie.
I quote that movie a ridiculous amount of times. And I'm so glad you brought up Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping, because this side of This Is Spinal Tap, one of the greatest mockumentaries ever made. And I do legitimately listen to Connor for Real's music on a regular basis, including
Mm.
Finest Girl, the Osama bin Laden song. It's hilarious. But that is a wrap here on the Wasteland Retrospective and our thoughts on Friends with Kids and Knocked Up. But Jeff, thank you as always, every month coming on here and talking movies with me.
Sure, no problem.
And my next episode will be my wife Jess and I talking about the original Godzilla and the 2014 Godzilla. So that'll be a lot of fun. Very different vibe than this episode. Big giant lizards. And then next month, Jeff and I are going to be doing a double dose of that turn of the century Tom Hanks. We got Castaway and You've Got Mail. But thank you all for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. What are your go-to like Judd Apatow comedies or like comedies from this era with all these crazy talented comedic actors? And make sure to follow or subscribe or ever listen to your podcast. The SPM Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding. And if you want to be a part of it and join the crew, whether you're going to make your own podcast or be a guest on one of ours, make sure to reach out on our website. And if you like our logo, check out High Flyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. Most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.